Hey guys, how's everybody doing? In this video, we're going to be looking at how to add, subtract, and multiply different polynomials. What you're seeing right here on the screen is just some special product patterns that may make some of our multiplication easy. So we have, anytime you have the sum and difference of two items, then you can just simplify it to a squared minus b squared. And then we also have some easy patterns for an a plus b squared and an a minus b squared. And then the same thing for a plus b cubed and a minus b cubed. So you realize you don't have to use these special product patterns, but they may make some of your problems easier. And I'll show you some examples here in a little bit. Also, another tool that we can use to make things easier is Pascal's Triangle. I'll show you how to use this as well, but it's the same basic idea. If you have like a plus b to the fourth power, then you can simplify it just to this right here. So it may make some of our problems a little bit easier. Well, let's jump in and look at a few examples though. Let's start out with how to add two polynomials. So basic idea is like terms. So since we have a negative 4x squared and a negative x squared, we're going to add these two together. So negative 4 plus negative 1 is negative 5. And you'll have to ignore my bad handwriting. I'm writing with my mouse again today. Okay, so negative 5x squared. And then what I like to do is just cross them out, saying we've already done those. Okay, and then we can add the negative 6x and the 7x. Negative 6x plus 7x is plus 1x, or just plus x. Okay, we got those. Then we can add the 18 and the 8. 18 plus 8 is 26. So we can just do plus 26. And that's the basic idea when it comes to adding polynomials, is just add like terms. Add the like terms. Add the squareds, add the regular x's, and then add just your constant numbers. You can try 2 if you want. I'll leave that for you to work on. We're going to look at number 3 for how to subtract different polynomials. So that's adding up here. Number 1 was an example of adding. Let's also look at subtracting. It's the same idea, except we're going to be subtracting every term instead of adding. So we've got negative 11x to the fourth and negative 11x to the fourth. So we could subtract those since they're the like terms. So negative 11 minus negative 11 is just 0. So actually they cancel, and so they're gone. They just disappear. So we go to the next thing. We have a negative 1x cubed, but then we don't have any x cubed over here. So negative x cubed is all we have, so we'll just leave it as negative x cubed. We're not able to subtract anything because there aren't any x cubes over here. Let's look at the x squareds, and we'll go ahead and mark that out. We have negative 3x squared and 5x squared. So we have negative 3x squared minus 5x squared. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. So we'll have negative 8x squared. We'll go ahead and mark those out. Now we have 10x and negative 7x. 10x minus negative 7x, that's a double negative. Be sure you get both of them. 10x minus negative 7x is 17x. So we'll have plus 17x. Mark those out. And then finally we have negative 2 minus 13. Negative 2 minus 13 is negative 15. And there is our answer. So we got everything crossed out. So adding and subtracting polynomials is just adding and subtracting like terms. Don't make it any more difficult than it is. I'll leave number 2 up here for you to work out yourself. if you'd like that challenge. Okay, now let's look at the meat of this video, and that is products or multiplying different polynomials. So let's work 5, 7, and 9, and we'll leave 4, 6, and 8 for you to do on your own. So basic ideas here, we have to multiply everything. So we're going to multiply x4 by 3x squared, x4 by 6x, and x4 by -1. We're going to multiply negative 10x squared by 3x squared, negative 10x by -6, and negative 10x by -1. And then finally, we're going to do 25 by 3x, 25 by -6, and 25 by -1. You can see how this can get really tedious. And this problem may actually take us the longest because we have 3, 6, 9 different multiplications that we're going to have to do. And then we may have like terms to combine afterward. So that's kind of the basic idea, is we're just multiplying everything. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll get started with this top, with the x4. So x to the 4th times 3x squared is 3. X, and when you multiply exponents, like x to the 4th times x squared, you're going to add the exponents. So 4 plus 2 is 6. So we'll have 3x, x to the 4th times 3x squared is 3x to the 6th. Okay, now let's multiply x to the 4th times -6x. That's going to give us -6. And remember, if there's not an exponent on the x, it's an imaginary 1. So x to the 4th times -6x is going to give us -6x to the 5th. Remember, you add the exponents. Okay, and then x to the 4th times -1 is -x to the 4th. And we kind of just keep going in this vein. Now, let's multiply our -10 by 3x squared, -6, and -1. So -10x squared times 3x squared is -30. And then x squared plus x squared is x to the 4th. All right. -10x squared times -6x is -60. That's a terrible 6. -60x cubed. Remember, you add the exponents. -10x squared times -1 is just plus 10x squared. All right. Now let's do our final set of multiplications. 25 times 3x squared, 25 times -6x, and 25 times -1. 25 times 3x squared is 75x squared. (25 times -6x is -150x. Looks like we're going to need a little bit more room. Let's see if we can scoot this over a little bit. There we go. Oops. All right, and then our finally we have 25 times -1, which is just -25. Now, we're almost finished here. We just want to combine like terms. So it looks like there's only one x to the 6th. So we'll just copy this one down here, 3x to the 6th. And I'm going to go ahead and mark it out up here. Now we can combine our fifths, x to the 5th, and it looks like there's only one x to the 5th, so we'll just copy that down here, -6 x to the 5th. And we can mark it out. Now we combine our x to the fourths, and notice there's two of them. There's -1 and -30, so that gives us, I don't think there's any more x to the fourths, so that gives us -31 x to the fourths. So here we're just combining like terms. We'll cross those out. There's only one x cubed, so we'll copy that, -60 x cubed. Go ahead and cross that out. 2x squareds here, so we have 10x squared and 75x squared, which gives us 85x squared. Cross those out. We have 1x, so -150x. And then finally, just one regular number, so we'll just copy this down as well, -25. And cross that out. So this is our answer. Guys, it's quite the process here. But essentially, you're just multiplying everything. Now, all your problems aren't going to be quite this difficult or quite this long. But it's not really that difficult. You just multiply one thing at a time, and you'll get your answer. Let's look at number 7 down below. For number 7, what I would recommend, since we're multiplying 3 different polynomials, let's multiply the first two, get an answer, and then we'll multiply the answer by that third one. So let's just multiply these first two. So let's take the 2x and multiply by the 6 and the x. So 2x times 6 is 12x. 2x times -x is -2x squared. So x times x is x squared. Okay. Now, let's take this -3, multiply by the 6 and the -x. -3 times 6 is -18. -3 times -x is positive 3x. Okay, so we've multiplied the first two polynomials. We could simplify this a little bit. We can combine the x's, so we'll have 15x minus 2x squared minus 18. All I did here was combine the two x's, the 12x and the 3x, to get 15x. Now, this right here is the product of these first two polynomials. Now we also need to multiply it by this last polynomial. So we can take our solution down here, 15x minus 2x squared minus 18, and multiply it by 4 minus 5x. I guess we'll put a red bracket there, or parenthesis. Okay, so we could multiply each of these. So we could do 15x times 4 and 15x times -5x. So 15x times 4 gives us 60x. (15x times -5x gives us -75x squared. Okay, now let's move on to this one. -2x squared times 4 gives you -8x squared. -2x squared times -5x gives you a positive 10x cubed. Now we can multiply our last one here. -18 times 4. Let's see. -18 times 4 gives us -72. -18 times -5x gives us 90x. Okay. And then we can combine like terms, and we should be done. Let's see, we have a 60x here and a 90x. We can combine those two. I'm going to write this in a different color. 60 plus 90 is 150x. We'll go ahead and mark those out. Oops. We have a negative 75x squared and a negative 8x squared. We can combine those two to get negative 83x squared. Mark those out. We have one 10x cubed, so we can just rewrite that. 10x cubed. And we have a negative 72, so we can write that in here. Now, to write this in standard form, you would usually put the biggest exponent out first, so it would be 10x cubed out first. You can do that if you want, or you can just leave it like this. I'm okay with it, just like that. Doesn't matter what order the x's are in for me. Okay, so these problems, guys, can be a little bit tedious as we're multiplying everything out. But the process is pretty simple. You just multiply everything. You're just multiplying everything. For number 9, this is actually one of our special cases. So let's look back up at that, because this is a cube of a difference, which is this special case right here. So our answer is just going to be this. So let's copy that down below, and then we'll be able to solve. So we know our answer. This is going to be our A, and this is going to be our B. And we know our answer is A cubed minus 3 a squared b plus 3 a b squared. Now guys, you don't actually have to do it this way. You could multiply it all out. You just do 2v minus 1 times 2v minus 1 times 2v minus 1, kind of like we did right up here. You could work it out the exact same way. Just rewrite 2v minus 1 3 times. But I think the shortcut may save us some time. So a cubed is 2v times 2v times 2v. So that would give us 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 8. Let me go back to blue. 8v cubed minus 3a squared b. So we'll have minus 3. A squared is just 4v squared. 4v squared. And then b is negative 1. We'll come back and multiply those in a minute. Then we have plus 3, a, which is 2v. We'll 2v in here. And then b squared. B squared is negative 1 times negative 1, which is just 1. So 3 times 2v times 1 is just 3 2v. And then minus b cubed. B cubed, negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And we can simplify that as, since we have a double negative there, we can simplify that as just plus 1. Okay, now we can do these multiplications. So we'll have 8v cubed negative 3 times 4v squared times negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is just 3. 3 times 4 is 12, so we'll have 12v squared 3 times 2v is just 6v. And then plus 1. And there's our answer. So, might save us a little bit of room by following the shortcut, but it's up to you. Last thing we're going to look at here is how to use Pascal's Triangle to expand the binomial. Let's do number 11, I guess. So we'll go up here to Pascal's Triangle. We have a fifth power here, so let's figure out which one on the Pascal's Triangle we're going to steal. So fifth power is right here. So that's going to be our answer. So let's copy that down low. Again, this is just a shortcut. You could, if you wanted to, just multiply g plus 6 times g plus 6 times g plus 6 times g plus 6 times g plus 6. Multiply it out 5 times. But the shortcut may be a little bit faster. So we'll have 1a to the fifth plus 5a to the fourth b plus 10 a cubed b squared plus 10 a squared b cubed plus 5ab to the fourth plus b to the fifth, where a is just g and b is just 6. All right, so let's do this. A to the fifth is just g to the fifth plus 5a to the fourth, which is just g to the fourth, so just 5g to the fourth. B is 6. So really when we come back we do 5 times 6, which is just 30, but we'll simplify that here in a bit. Plus 10, a cubed is just g cubed. B squared, that's 6 squared, which is 36. Plus 10 g squared instead of a squared. B cubed, that's 6 cubed, which is 36 times 6. 6 times 6 times 6, which is 216. Plus 5a is g. B to the fourth is 6 to the fourth, which is 1,296. And then finally, b to the fifth, which is 6 to the fifth, which is 7,776. Now we could go through simplify, and we should be done. So g to the fifth is just g to the fifth. 5g to the fourth times 6. So 5 times 6 is 30. G to the fourth. Then we have 10 times 36, which is 360 g cubed. We have 10g squared times 216, which is 2,160 g squared. We have 5 times 1,296 times g, which is, let's see, 6,480 g. And then finally, 7,776. And there's our answer. So guys, these problems can be a little bit tedious. Adding and subtracting is easy, but when it comes to finding the product, of polynomials. It can be a little bit of a process. I will say, guys, practice makes perfect. So go through, do a lot of practice on this. If you get stuck, ask your teacher or send me a comment, and I'll see what I can do to help you guys out. But hope this video was useful and helpful to you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.